This is Q13 News at 10.
Every parent's nightmare. A local mom discovers her toddler has fallen from their apartment balcony onto a car. Tonight, the twist of fate that saved that child's life.
Plus, people in Pullman are left with a mess after flash floods. We're going to show you what's left behind.
And chaos inside a local gas station as a man armed with a rifle terrorizes the store's clerk and its customers. We'll walk you through the whole thing and the proof that he's not acting alone. But first, a toddler is alive after falling out of a 6th-story window this evening. And good evening, I'm David Rose.
And I'm Jamie Tompkins. We've learned the child is in serious but stable condition tonight. And unfortunately, this is something that we see more of as the weather starts to warm up. Omar Lewis is live at the hospital where that child is tonight. Omar?
Yeah, Redmond police tell us if a car had not been parked where it was to help catch that child's fall, this would have been a much different story. Tonight, that child is alive and recovering here at Harborview, and the owner of the car tells us he's just glad that he decided to bike to work today. Redmond police got an emergency call to 911 Wednesday evening from the Redmond Square Apartments, just moments after a 20-month-old child fell from a 6th-floor window that was cracked open.
The window is pretty close to the floor. It's only about a foot off the floor. The toddler was laying on a mattress pad on the floor, and it looks like he propped himself up against the window and fell out.
According to police, the child's mother was in another room in the apartment when it all happened. It was the toddler's sister who noticed something was terribly wrong.
The 4-year-old sister discovered that her brother was no longer in the room, came out and screaming to mom that something bad had happened.
When Redmond police arrived to the apartments on Northeast 170th Avenue, the baby was alive and crying, and it was all thanks to Edward Liu's blue Mazda.
That's when I found out the kid had fallen on my car.
The dent now in the roof of his car marks the spot where the 20-month-old baby landed, breaking his fall.
It's around 60 to 70 feet. If the car had not been there, this would be a completely different story. The denting on top of the car actually suggests that it absorbed a lot of the impact from the child landing on it.
Edward Liu just so happened to bike to work on this rainy day instead of driving his car. Otherwise, his parking spot C64 would have been empty at the time of the incident.
If I had driven in today, I don't know what would have happened. You know, I'm lucky, or we're all lucky, I guess, that I biked in today rather than driving in.
It's a fall that's now turned Edward Liu into a believer of miracles.
You know, I can't say that I do normally, but this time, man, I don't know how else I could term it.
And tonight, Redmond police say right now nothing suggests that there was any criminal negligence involved here. So they're treating this like an accident, and that mother will not be facing any charges. Again, that child is now recovering here at Harborview, listed in serious but stable condition. Tonight, we're live in Seattle. Omar Lewis, Q13 News.
All right, glad that baby's going to be okay. The University of Washington says 40 to 50 children are treated at Harborview after falling out of a window, something that they say is very preventable.
Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority says as you're airing out your house and enjoying the springtime, remember, a screen is not enough to keep curious kids safe.
Screens on windows are made to keep bugs out, not kids in. And a lot of people depend on those screens on windows to protect their kids, and it doesn't take much pressure from the inside to push those screens out.
If you have young kids, you might want to look at installing window stops, which stop the window from opening more than about 4 inches. You'll also want to keep your kids' beds and anything they can climb on away from windows. And for even more safety, don't decorate windows with things like sun catchers, wind chimes, or even stickers, because all of those things might encourage kids to get too close. People in Pullman are cleaning up from yesterday's extreme flooding. Police say about 200 people were evacuated because of the flooding, and many roads were also closed. Pullman police say most of the water is gone now, but all the mud and trash still has to be cleaned up. This is a fitness center you can see covered in mud and debris. Other businesses suffered extensive damage. The good news, though, no reports of anyone being hurt. but it feels like more rain's coming our way. Let's check in with meteorologist Tim Joyce.
Yeah, those folks in eastern Washington have seen about 2 inches of rain all within pretty much the last 72 hours. So no wonder they saw all that flooding. Luckily, we've got some good news for folks in the eastern part of the state and for us as well. Take a look at the radar picture right now in areas in central and eastern Washington. And yeah, the showers have kind of eased up in the Pullman area. And for folks along the Palouse River, just now has been that flood warning has been allowed to expire. So only the Walla Walla River in Walla Walla County and the Grand Ronde River kind of extending across the border between southeastern Washington and northeastern Oregon, still under a flood warning, but that is expected to kind of ease up as you get into the overnight hours. In the mountains, we're talking about some snow, but lower elevations all seeing some rain. In fact, we're still seeing some rain around the Seattle area. That convergence zone action still affecting areas around Seattle, portions of King County, and the south part of the Sound as well. We've got some more April showers in the forecast, and some, including the weekend, will be a little bit on the soggy side. All those details will time it out for you coming up in just a couple minutes.
All right, thank you, Tim. A powerful bomb cyclone is whipping the Rockies and the Plains for the second time in 4 weeks, turning the spring into more of a winter scene. From Wyoming to Minnesota, 4 million people are under blizzard warnings right now. In a matter of hours, temperatures just dropped, giving people in that region winter whiplash.
On Monday, it was almost 70 degrees, if not 70 degrees. Then you go back to this. Yeah, I'm over it.
The Plains could get more than 2 feet of snow by Friday morning, and South Dakota may see up to 30 inches. More than 700 flights have already been canceled as the storm churns throughout the country.
New tonight, Kent police need your help to identify 2 robbery suspects after a scary gas station stick-up on Monday that was caught on camera. Watch the chaos inside a Chevron station as an armed robber storms in and pulls out a shotgun. A customer just trying to buy a soda puts his hands up in shock as the crook rounds the counter to the cash register. That is a big gun, and the clerk knows it. He quickly opens the register, takes out all the cash, and lays it on the counter, even politely picking up a bill that drops on the ground, as the suspect is scrambling to grab the money while repeatedly shouting threats. One customer towards the back of the store stays on his knees with his hands up for most of the heist. The suspect was well disguised during the robbery, but not before it, when detectives say he was seen on surveillance video casing the place. So take a good long look at his face and see if you recognize him. Police are also trying to identify the woman in the red hat, who at first seemed to be just another innocent customer.
This case is a little unique because we caught these individuals on surveillance about an hour prior to the incident, casing the place, kind of checking it out, seeing if there was patrons or people inside. We know that there's a male subject and then a second subject involved that's a female. And she was really casing the place and spent quite a bit of time within the store and was on the phone. More likely than not, she was talking to the suspect involved. So they leave, they come back, not as many people in the store, she's in the store, and then the robbery occurs. He got a good amount of cash and took off from the store. So here's the lady in the red hat that's pretending she's a customer inside of the Chevron. We know she's not a customer and that she's part of their whole scheme here for this robbery. She's asking to purchase things, which just isn't reasonable behavior or normal behavior for anyone that was just robbed.
So if you could tell Kent police either of their names, submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers by using the P3 Tips app that you can download to your phone right now for free. You can always call the hotline, 1-800-222-TIPS. Usually the first tips that come in are the ones that get that cash reward, so do it right away if you know who either of these robbery suspects are in Kent. Well, Governor Jay Inslee has taken his presidential campaign to the national stage tonight, answering audience questions during a CNN town hall.
When it came to climate change, the governor explained how he'd help miners, drillers, and others who would lose their jobs to clean energy. He pointed to the state's efforts in Centralia as a good model.
Where we are closing our last coal-fired plant, to have about a $55 million fund to help those employees in training and transition assistance, to help businesses where we can make sure that local economy continues to thrive.
On another subject, Inslee was asked how he could work with Congress on a budget when he's had to add legislative sessions at home to do it. He admits it's been tough, but says he's gotten results from both sides of the aisle.
While I've been a leader with a Republican Senate, we were able to pass the largest transportation package in the history of the state on a bipartisan basis, even though the Republicans said no for 4 years. I just kept at it. We were also able to pass the largest educational budget, where we put several billion.
Governor Inslee also touched on Boeing and the 737 MAX jet crashes. Inslee says he would have considered grounding the planes after the first disaster. Tonight's town hall was one of several presidential campaign stops that Inslee is making this week. He'll visit a few early primary and caucus states before returning to Olympia. Tomorrow, Brandy Cruz will break down the town hall on Q13 News this morning.
Well, now out live to I-5, where drivers are learning the hard way, a new lowered speed limit is in place. Troopers stopped 20 drivers in just 90 minutes near Tacoma early this morning. Construction projects forced the DOT to lower the speed limit to 50 miles an hour on an 8-mile stretch of I-5 between Tacoma and Fife. But not everyone got the message. Troopers stopped 20 speeders and cited 14 of them for aggressive driving.
Well, here at Q13 News, we are dedicated to showcasing what makes our area special.
And tonight, we're looking at farming.
We grow zucchini, cucumbers, leeks, beets, rhubarb. We have a little bit of organic that we grow of the same crops.
The local fields that could be feeding your family, and you don't even know it.
Plus, Amazon's Go store was supposed to be the first cashless store, but why it's now going to start accepting cash anyway.
And we're tracking more rain and mountain snow tonight. Tim will be back with details about your morning commute.